Alright, today I need to put some tires on the minivan. I have these used tires, they come off another vehicle. And they still have really good tread on them. They just weren't good enough for the vehicle they were on, so we're going to put them on my wife's van. It's getting pretty low, as you can see here. And I don't know about you guys where you're at, but they charge a fortune, as far as I'm concerned, to mount these tires. So we're going to do it ourselves. A lot of guys you can do it with a 2x4 and lay it on there and then drive up on it and break the bead, or we use our bead breaker, the great all. And I just put soap around there, take the valve stem out, put soap around the bead. I come in with a fork, I push down on it, put a little pressure on it, let it sit, it'll pop. Then I'll let it up and do the other side. I'll show you. Pay attention to where the valve stem is, because I don't want my fork and the great all to hit it.
It's scooting a little bit. I'm trying to hold it with my foot, and then the soap's real slippery. It's kind of slipping off. Okay.
All right. Once the bead's broke all the way around, you got to find out where is the deepest part of the rim. Is it closer to the back or closer to the front? Whichever way this deep, you can see how that gets deeper. Wherever that is, which is called the drop center, whichever side it's closer to, that's the side that the wheel has to come off of, or tire has to come off the wheel. Alright, so that valve stem pressure sensor is over here. So we want to push the tire down that valley and get over here next to this on either side of it, and then start to bring the tire up. You can use a smaller tire iron. This is just what I have, and these rims are scratched up pretty good as it is, so I'm really not too concerned. This is probably our last set of tires on this van. Take this and this way on the back, and I need to get on top of that lip and then come over here and find the center here where I can get my bar in the middle of, and then I'm just gonna push over and let the soap do the work. That's it. Clean all this up. I bought some of the wheel sealer for these beads in case these were crusty. They're not, they're in good shape, so I'm just gonna move forward with it just the way it is. I think this is our last set of tires for this thing. We'll probably be replacing it here pretty soon. As soon as we find a suitable replacement, huh?
Mm-hmm.
This is just a tire lube. It's really slick. I don't use the soap, I use this instead because it seems to work real well. Notice I'm kind of doing the inside of that tire like that. Let's see why in a minute. Alright, so we're going to start where that valve stem is. Put the tire over there. There's the first one. Same thing here. I'll stand down here. Some guys like to put the tire over, you know, put the pressure sensor over there. Do whatever you like. This is what I like. Just let the soap do the work. Definitely want to make sure you keep your fingers away from that bead. That right there is about 30 pounds. We're going to go to 30, about 35. It wasn't as full as I thought it was. There's 32, 34, 35. Next thing we'll do is wipe the wheel down. We'll take some dish soap and go all the way around the bead here.
You mean Windex?
Yeah, Windex. Go all the way around the bead and make sure that there's no leaks. All the way around here and around the valve stem. And that's it. We're going to go get them balanced and then we'll put them on the van. Alright, so this is a little bit of change of scenery. I have this in my wife's garage. This is her Town and Country. We just put the tires on. I just had them balanced. I haven't put them on yet. The next thing is these things are pretty problematic for the transmission lines where they come up and they go to these rubber hoses. The crimp ends seem to leak right in here and drips, and this is no different. So I need to replace them, and they come up here to the cooler, so you got to take this grill apart, this little grill shell, so we can get to the lines that are up in that corner up there. So not really big deal, should be fairly straightforward. Let's get it apart. Alright, so I just took the bumper cover loose. It didn't take very much, just a couple screws down here, one bolt up into here. It pops loose, slides forward, makes it easier. So then you take these little covers here, they cover the snap ring. It's kind of a snap ring in here, like an E-ring, and what you have to do is see the end of it right there. See if I can zoom in. See this end right here. You just have to get that up and out like so. Just be careful you don't lose them. You can get them out and just turn them a little bit. It makes it easier. Let me get this out because I kind of need two hands so I don't lose that. Alright, so there's what it is. So these little bends right here go into corresponding slots, and then this line has a flare on it. I'll pull it out and show you, but those little pieces stop that flare from coming out, and then once you put this plastic piece over it, it locks over it, so this not supposed to be able to come out. Alright, I got the last one out. Just wiggle it back and forth. I sprayed brake parts cleaner around this before I took it apart to try and clean up all the crud around it, and that's it. And we just grab this end, these two, and fish them out this way. That's all there is to it. Don't make a big mess like that in my wife's garage. That's why I got those down there. So you can see what the problem is. The crimps start to leak, and then it'll start rolling down here and then dripping down in front of the van. And there's a mess I just made. Of course, this is her garage, so we'll have to clean that. It's important when you take these off that you don't spread them. So before I go to put them back in, I'll give them a little squeeze just to make sure they didn't spread them out. And then I put these back into place and then shove the hose in the line where it belongs. So here's a new line set from Dodge, made in Mexico. And they come with the new keepers, of course, already on them. Just compare them to your old ones, make sure they're the right ones. Yeah, it looks pretty close. Yeah, they look exact. Okay. Now we'll just put them back on. Alright, so when you put these in, just got the clip in there, get it square, and just push. And you'll see how the clip pops into place. And I'm putting these back the same way they went, which the caps, the locks, see how that one's in? Pay attention to these locks right here. They're different colors, and they're also different colors on the transmission as well. So in this one, the gray color was on the top, and the black was on the bottom. It's possible to do holding the camera, and these have to be pushed in and locked. Sometimes they're a little tough. Make sure the rubber's not holding it. There you go. Make sure that's in. And down here at the bottom, I already have these pushed in. So now all I have to do is get the locks down here. Okay. Now that part's done. So I'm going to put all this back together. Then we have to talk about how to fill this transmission. There's no dipstick on this transmission. There's supposed to be serviced at the dealer. You know, you don't service them yourself. So you can buy a dipstick tube for this to check the level. There's where is it? There's a spout on the transmission. I gotta find where it's at. Oh, it's right here behind the wiring. Right down in here. You can't get to it for the wiring. It's got this little plug in it. So they sell a test, they call it a test dipstick to put in there and check your fluid with, your fluid level. But I'm not gonna buy one. We're gonna do something different. But let me get all this put back together. Alright, so according to Chrysler specs, at cold, the level ought to be between 5 and 15 millimeters. But you can't even hardly tell what that is, so I'm not even going to confuse myself with that. I'm just going to put right in here the operating temp, which is 40 to 45 or somewhere around there. So I'm just going to mark those two. I'm going to use a cutting wheel, and I'm going to make a line at a high and low of the operating temperature, the minimum and maximum, and then I'm just going to kind of scuff it up in between so I can see it. I'll make a definite line across here. I'm not going to mess with the cold temperature, because the cold, if it's just barely on the tip, I mean, that's good enough. And make sure I'm on the back side of my oil dipstick. I just decided to give it some hash marks, you know, left and right in there, so that we would be able to, it'll be able to hold the fluid. So when we're checking it, like, again, I'm not going to mess with the 5 or the 15. I'm just going to tell you that when it's warm, if it's up to this, I'm happy. Alright, let's go start it up and top our fluid off. Alright, so it's up to operating temperature. The cooling fan is running. It's coming on and off. Stick it down in there. Right here. And we're just barely on the stick. Right there. I need to be up to where my mark is. Right there. According to what I see, it takes ATF plus 4, which we're using. Okay, I'll let this drain down the pan, then we'll check it again. Alright, let's see where we're at here. I think we're just right there. Yep, I'm happy with that. Okay, we're going to call that full. So now, I'm going to wipe this dipstick off, transfer it back off of it. And now we're going to put it right back where it goes. And I did it like that so I would know what that is and I wouldn't mistake it for that. I thought about writing trans level on there, but with an engraver, but I think this will be all right. I dropped my, there it is. There's the plug. Gotta make sure, get it down in here, get that turned back in. Okay. Now we'll put the engine cover back on. We got some cleaning to do. We're probably gonna pressure wash underneath here. I like to keep under the engine bay a little cleaner than this, but it's been a long winter. So I'm going to do that. Now we're going to put the tires on. Alright, test drive went good. I rechecked the fluids and everything's good to go. So we are done with this one, so we hope you enjoyed it. Jeff went for a test drive with us. He's a good boy. He's ready for some lunch now. Catch you on the next one.